Good evening. On behalf of the trustees and the Board of Governors of the World Values Network, and our dinner co-chairs, Dr. Miriam and Sheldon Adelson, and Judy and Michael Steinhardt, I'm delighted to welcome you to the 5th Annual Champions of Jewish Values International Awards Gala. Tonight, we will honor some remarkable individuals, Jews and non-Jews alike, whose actions embody the highest ideals of universal Jewish values and whose contributions to society represent the pinnacle of creativity, courage, determination, and decency. And how fitting it is to be holding this gala on the eve of the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the reunification of Jerusalem, while honoring the memory of Nobel Prize laureate Elie Wiesel, whose life continues to serve as a beacon of light for the Jewish people. With my term as chair of the Board of Trustees of the World Values Network coming to a close, I can't help but reflect on the profound impact this organization has had in areas ranging from the government's stance on foreign policy and global humanitarian issues to the importance of tolerance and respect among disparate voices here at home. When I look at the work we do, from our full-page ads in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and other publications, to our vast social media outreach with over 1 million followers on Facebook and 250,000 on Twitter, to our events that attract thousands of people on a regular basis, and our global leadership series that provides intimate access to world-renowned scholars and residents, to our weekly Shabbat dinners that gather thought leaders in fields like journalism, business, politics, and the arts to share the beauty of the Jewish Sabbath, I know we're making a difference. And then, of course, there are the publications, the books we publish like The Israel Warrior, which is now part of a high school curriculum for students to use as an anti-BDS manual, and the hundreds of articles that are published everywhere from the Wall Street Journal to the Jerusalem Post to the Huffington Post on a weekly basis. And I must add that we do all of this with a very small but incredibly dedicated staff. Tonight, we're proud to highlight these undertakings and ask for your continued support, but even more so, to recognize the people whom we admire the most for possessing the courage to take actions that have changed lives, and in some cases, even the course of history. Along with these esteemed honorees, we're fortunate to have with us many dignitaries, elected officials, and special guests, a list too numerous to mention. But speaking of dignitaries, I was informed just before tonight's program that we received a greeting from Ron Dermer, Israel's ambassador to the United States, who would otherwise be here but remained in Israel for the Jerusalem Day celebration. Please join me in watching this short video.
Congratulations, Shmuley, on another wonderful event for the World Values Network, another wonderful gala evening. I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight. I know Israel is well represented with our UN Ambassador, Danny Danon, our Consul General in New York, Danny Dayan, with Uri Ariel, all the way from Israel. But unfortunately and fortunately, I get to be in Jerusalem celebrating the 50th anniversary. And also, we're expecting a visitor tomorrow, a certain senior official. You may have heard of him, President Donald Trump. I was hoping to be there tonight to commend you first and foremost for honoring the life and legacy of Elie Wiesel. He was a soft-spoken man, but a towering moral giant of the Jewish people. And his legacy is not just about his words that he spoke, words that he wrote. It was also about so many people who he inspired. I also was looking forward to giving an award to President Paul Kagame of Rwanda, and to thank him for his leadership, for his moral leadership, and for his friendship with the Jewish people, a friendship that is deeply appreciated, and that we hope, that Israel hopes, will be a harbinger of new relations between Israel and many, many African countries. So Shmuley, thank you once again for all the work that you do on behalf of the Jewish people and the Jewish state. And if we could just get you to get out of your shell, if we could get you occasionally to go into the limelight, I think the sky's the limit for you and the organization. But thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
In case you hadn't noticed, Ambassador Dermer is a pretty big fan. On a personal note, it's been my honor to serve as Shmuley's wingman for a long time. Perhaps not as long as his incredible and unflappable wife, Debbie, who I might add also bore him 9 beautiful children. But there have been many times when the experience of riding shotgun with Shmuley into the headwinds of controversy approximates what I can only imagine going through childbirth must be like. Yet I wouldn't trade it for anything, because through it all I've learned that every day is filled with infinite possibilities to change the world. With that, I'm delighted to introduce my dear friend and the driving force behind the World Values Network. He's known as America's Rabbi, which is a fitting title considering he's a sought-after national TV and radio commentator on subjects ranging from social issues to geopolitics, a public speaker in global demand, an award-winning syndicated columnist and the author of 30 books, including several international bestsellers. It's hard to find an area of our culture on which he hasn't had an impact. He's truly one of our generation's fiercest defenders of Israel and most outspoken advocates on causes that are important to the Jewish people. All I can say is we're lucky to have him on our side. Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I was about to say that this organization discriminates against short people until I remembered that I was supposed to head this organization. What an incredible evening, and thank you all for joining us. It was about a year ago. We were in North Carolina, where our son Yosef was checking out the American Hebrew Academy in Greensboro. Okay, we got some people from Greensboro. We didn't even know that there's electricity in Greensboro. We didn't know there were people in Greensboro. In fact, this is the sum total of the entire population of Greensboro. And it was the 1st of July, and we expected to spend a 4th of July weekend there, when suddenly, my very dear friend, and someone I love very much, Elisha Wiesel, called me and said to me, Shmuley, if you want to see my father, then maybe it's a good idea to come to New York. And knowing that Elie Wiesel was not well, I told my wife we would cancel our plans for that Shabbat on the 4th of July, and we started a journey to try to make it back Friday before sunset so that I could enjoy the privilege that Elisha had extended to me, along with Marion, of seeing Elie Wiesel. And I knew that if we didn't make it, I would regret it for the rest of my life. And Google Maps showed us that on a drive that long, we were going to get home at 9:30, and the Sabbath came in at 8:31, and my daughter Shana was driving one car, and my wife Debbie was driving another car. It was 4th of July traffic, and we were weaving in between lanes. I'm driving Shana crazy. We cannot miss the Shabbat deadline. And there was a bottleneck on the Lincoln Tunnel. And my wife calls at about 7:45 and says, we cannot make it to Manhattan. We're going to have to walk across the tunnel. Let's go to our home in New Jersey. And I said, I'm not going to miss seeing Elie Wiesel if Elisha has granted me that privilege. And I had the children saying psalms in the back of the car. And my friends, at 8 o'clock, suddenly a bottleneck that had been there for about 8 hours straight suddenly disappeared. We made it into New York at 8:28 p.m. And Elisha brought me to his father. And I'll never forget being with the light of the Jewish people the night before he passed away. Elisha, I see it as a singular honor that you granted to me, for which I'm eternally grateful. I was there with Marion and Ellie, and I said to the great Elie Wiesel how much I loved him and what he meant to the Jewish people and what he meant to 6 million who never had a name because they were turned into piles of dust. And when I came home, I said to my children, it's a sad night. Elie Wiesel is very unwell. And my daughter Sterni began to cry, and she said, Tati, there are no great men alive anymore. And the next day when I went to visit again, and Alicia hugged me and said, Baruch Dayan Emet, blessed be the true judge. When we lost Elie Wiesel, and then when my wife Debbie and I had the honor of sitting with Marion and Alicia that whole Shabbat, and the respect that Alicia showed his father, to wait for 10 hours before making any public announcement. President Obama had already called him the conscience of the world. The conscience of the world. And Alicia showed his father tremendous respect by waiting until the Shabbat went out to make any public statement. I'll never forget that day. I will never forget that day, Marion. The day when a great light of the world went out. And I thought about my daughter's words, there are no great men. And then I understood it was an excuse. When we say there are no great men, it means that we don't have to do great things because ordinary people only do ordinary things. When we say there are no great men, that means there's no one who has to speak out. For the children who are barrel bombed in Aleppo, when we say there are no great men, it means that we don't have to speak out. For a genocide of the Tutsi in Rwanda, black Africans murdered when nobody cared. When we say there are no great men, it's an excuse that absolves us of the responsibility to intervene and to finally give a damn that people are dying around the world while we drink wine and eat dessert. This organization is imperfect, as am I, but our only premise of why you're here is that we want to give a damn. This Friday, we took out a full-page ad in the Washington Post where we said that the State Department revealed on Tuesday that there's a crematoria in Syria where tens of thousands of bodies have been burned. And did any of us lose our appetite as we convulsed over political upheaval in the United States, as we watched endless cable news? They were burning bodies in Syria, and Elie Wiesel wasn't here to challenge us to do anything about it. And we're afraid of speaking out because we're afraid that people will point a finger at us and say that we're highly imperfect. Who are you to talk about human rights when you are riddled with shortcomings yourself? Michael Steinhardt, one of the great Jews in the world today, who is our host this evening, always talks to me about Jewish values. And Michael, what's the most important of Jewish values that you and I always discuss? My friends, you know what it is? It's struggle. It's imperfect people struggling. The word Israel, he who wrestles, he who struggles, he who seeks to make the world better while not being perfect himself. Righteousness, according to our religion, is not defined as perfection. I have no interest in perfect people. They would bore me because they're so monotonous. I know exactly what they're going to do. Give me the people who struggle to create a better world, riddled with inner demons, riddled with inner perfections. There was Abraham in our religion, and there was Jacob. Abraham is the great knight of faith who discovered God under the sunlit heavens of Mesopotamia. And he is aloof. Avram Ivri is what we call him. Abraham the Hebrew, which means he's detached. Sodom and Gomorrah is evil. He moves away. He doesn't want to be around evil people. He is sowing the kernel of monotheism, and he can't afford to expose it to corruption. Abraham is perfect, and everybody likes Abraham. The Muslims claim Abraham is theirs, and the Christians say they are grafted onto the seed of Abraham, and the Jews say, oh, wait, Abraham's ours. Everyone wants Abraham. You know who nobody wants? Nobody wants Jacob. Israel. Israel. You Jews can have Jacob, because Jacob in the Bible is a little bit tricky. Doesn't he put on this goat hair to fool his own father so that his brother Esau will not get the firstborn blessing? Isn't Jacob the one who tussles with his father-in-law over financial issues? Give us a righteous man like Abraham. So why are we Israelites and not Abrahamites? My friends, because Jacob was the first man who decided he would not let evil, violent people like his brother Esau take over the world, even if he became morally tainted as he battled against them. Jacob was more interested in protecting the innocent than protecting his name. Mr. President, it was 1994. You were the head of the Rwandan Patriotic Front. And a peace deal had been worked out in an attempt at power sharing. And then suddenly, the slaughter began. I met so many of the survivors. Tutsi men, women, and children. Like at the Gahoza Shalom dinner, and I hope that Seth Marin is here, heroes in Rwanda who built a youth village. I've met the survivors. Mr. President, the violence broke out, and they were hacking Tutsis to death, and moderate Hutus. They were hacking Tutsis to death. They were hacking them to death. And the United Nations had peacekeeping forces. They're not controversial. And then they withdrew the peacekeeping forces. And Romeo Dallaire, the commander, decided he's going to at least stay there to protect the UN safe zones. But there were no safe zones. And one man decided that he would fight for his people, that he would launch a battle. And you said one thing over and over again, Mr. President, when you were told, keep the peace, be Abraham, don't be controversial, stop exposing your name, peace. And your response was, not until the killing stops. Not until the killing stops. Not until the killing stops. Because it's not normal to have a country where rivers are dammed by human bodies. Because it's not normal for me to meet someone 18 years later, a woman, I'm there with my wife Debbie, and Debbie's trying to hug her, and she recoils. And we said, what's wrong? And she said, and the person who's escorting us to meet her says, she doesn't mean to be unhospitable. She had a baby, and she had a husband. And the genocidaires came in, and after shooting her husband, they took her baby and smashed its skull against a wall, and then she was raped by 18 men, so she can't hug anyone. She has lost the capacity to be touched by human kindness, the most human thing of all. And Mr. President, you said you will continue to fight until the killing stops. And I honor you for that, Mr. President. I honor you for protecting your people. I honor you for protecting your country. I honor you for being the only man alive to have stopped the genocide. God bless you, Mr. President. There were three responses to the Holocaust. One was Adam Chernyakov, the head of the Jewish Council in the Warsaw Ghetto, where Alicia and I just visited with the March of the Living. And they told him on the 22nd of July, 1943, that they would begin deporting the 300,000 people from the ghetto. The next day, 23rd July, 1943, 4 p.m., Chernyakov takes a cyanide capsule. He kills himself because he won't be the one to deport his people. The first response to the Holocaust is suicide, death. Across from him at the Lodz Ghetto, Mordechai Chaim Rumkowski saved 90,000 Jews originally by building giant factories. But when the Nazis said to him that you have to deport 20,000 children, he gave the most diabolical speech, Jewish speech, of the entire Holocaust. It lives in infamy till today. My daughter Shayna is the one who taught me about it. He got up in front of the Lodz Ghetto and he said, say it with me, give me your children. Turn your children over. The second response, was surrender. Give me your children. You can have more. And then, my friends, there was one man. And I was with Alicia in Warsaw, and we went to this place, Mila 18, a 23-year-old man. We barely know anything about him. And on the 19th of April, 1943, at the Pesach Seder, he gathered his last 700 fighters in the Warsaw Ghetto, and he said to them, today we choose not between life and death. Today we choose between death and death. All of you before me will certainly die. But you will die with dignity as free men. We will take some of these monsters with us. But the dream of Jews fighting for their lives and for their independence will be a reality. And that guy, Mordechai Anelovich, was the great founder of Jewish resistance whose memory we celebrate till today. And it is captured in that beautiful blue and white flag in the state of Israel. We are born to wrestle, and we are born to fight. And it's time that we stop being ashamed of the fact that we fight for life. It's time that we stopped apologizing, because the Jews are the ones who at Mount Sinai heard, thou shalt not murder, that every human life is created equally in the image of God, and it therefore has an infinite value. And let me tell you, my friends, when I sat there, and Shavuot is about to come up, my wife and I are going to Israel for the 50th anniversary of Jerusalem Day, beautiful, golden Jerusalem. And our son Mendy will be getting married in a week, and he just finished his service in the IDF. And we're very proud of him. And we'll celebrate Shavuot in Israel, where we got the 10 Commandments. And across Manhattan, 4 or 5 years ago, I'm debating the most famous atheist in the world, the late Christopher Hitchens, whom I miss, who was a special man and who I miss. And he said to me, the 10 Commandments that you get on this festival, you needed to hear from God not to murder, not to steal, not to commit adultery? Are you Jews so simplistic that you didn't know this on your own? And I said to him, Christopher, what's special about Mount Sinai and the 10 Commandments is not what God said, but the fact that God said it. God said, thou shalt not murder. No matter how angry you are, no matter how aggrieved you are, God said, do not murder. When my Palestinian brothers and sisters and every Arab life, especially in Syria, is in the image of God, and we must protect it. But what they say is really checkpoints, really upset us, and therefore we blow up buses. I'm sorry. No matter how aggrieved you feel, thou shalt not murder. And we Jews must remember that, and every nation must remember that the infinite value of every human life. My friends, let us celebrate the 50th anniversary of Jerusalem. Let us celebrate that there is one city on earth that dare never be divided, because it represents that eternal, unified, unconditional morality where God's home lived, where it dwelled. That there is things in life that cannot be disputed, that cannot be debated, and morality is the beginning of it. That we are enjoined, never stand idly by the blood of your neighbor. Mr. President, after the loss of Elie Wiesel, you are the last man standing when it comes to the names of international genocide. You're the only one to have stopped it. We need to hear your voice, Mr. President. We need to hear your voice about Syria. I understand that I'm a naive rabbi. I'm not a head of state. I can't imagine the weight of responsibility that you carry. I don't understand the alliances and the international relationships and the UN. I don't understand it. I'm naive. But I know, Mr. President, we need your voice. You have the credibility to speak out against the mass murder and the mass slaughter that continues to haunt this world, because you know when your people died, nobody cared. And you stopped it, and now we have to stop it everywhere. Which leads me finally to Alicia. My friends, I'm going to speak to you humbly, and I really have to end. Elie Wiesel was a great man, but he was a great man because he could raise someone like Alicia. You have given your father's memory such incredible pride. You're one of the most moral men that I know. You're one of the finest men that I know. One of the finest husbands, one of the finest fathers. The fact that you could choose someone as warm and loving as Lynn just proves what your values are. And you said the last Kaddish for your father tonight in front of all of us. That great statement. Yiskadal v'yiskada shmei Rabbah. May the greatness of God always go higher and higher. that even when he leaves the world dark, even when he allows mass murder, Holocaust, genocides, we still praise him. Even when he doesn't deserve it, we still praise him. Even when he seemingly doesn't deserve it, because we still believe. Even God's not going to stop us from believing. Alicia, we have to hear your voice. I heard your voice at Auschwitz 2 weeks ago. We have to hear your voice. You can't think that you're not up to the task. And you can't think that your father, that was his job and yours job is different. You are the owner of this legacy, and we have to hear your voice. And sometimes you're going to get pushback, and you'll suddenly be controversial, and you'll say things that anger people because it's easier not to make waves. But we have to hear your voice. My friends, in the final analysis, when I was just a little boy, one great man taught me that as an ordinary person, I could still make a difference. His name was the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and at my bar mitzvah, he invited me for a personal blessing. And I looked him in the eye, and I saw in his beautiful blue eyes an infinite sea of kindness, and he said to me, you must grow, and you will grow to be a source of inspiration, light, joy, and nachas to your school, your family, the Jewish people, and the world. Who says that to a 13-year-old? Elisha, you should grow to be a source of inspiration, joy, light, and nachas. To your mother, Marian, to your father's memory, to the Jewish people and the world.
For the past few years, Mike Fromm has been the chairman of the Board of Trustees for the World Values Network. He has shown leadership, he has shown integrity, he has shown righteousness. He has given me so much personal guidance and inspiration in matters both personal and professional. Anyone who has benefited from the outstanding work of the World Values Network over the past few years has indirectly and directly benefited from Mike's guidance and illumination. He has been there for me and our other employees at every step along the way. Not been there for us. He's an extraordinary human being, a man of righteousness, a man of inspiration, totally dedicated to the Jewish future, totally dedicated to human rights and human values. Mike is the great guiding light behind all of our work. And Mike, we love you, we're grateful to you, and God bless you.
We're going to step things up. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Fromm, our chairman, we're presenting him the special award for service and community leadership. And this is the first time in your life you've ever been late. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for everything you've done for our organization. We love you, and everything that I said, I mean. And any mistakes that have happened in the organization, whether the past few years or tonight, are your fault.
My fault.
Okay, God bless. Can we take a picture? You know photographers? Okay. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have tonight the man considered by many to be the most influential executive in all of American television. He was once my boss when I was a host at TLC, hosting Shalom in the Home. He is the president and CEO of Discovery Communications. So all the Discovery documentaries, the amazing shows on TLC, Animal Planet, Eurosport, God Almighty, the Oprah Winfrey Network, and he was instrumental with Oprah in taking Elie Wiesel to going with Oprah to Auschwitz, if you remember that incredible documentary. Ladies and gentlemen, the president and the CEO of Discovery Communications, Mr. David Zaslav. Thank you, David. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. I leaned over to Marian and I said, he's an extraordinarily powerful speaker. I think those words really resonated with me. And I'll talk to you about a little bit about when I was growing up and some of those same sentiments. But first, I have to say it's an honor to be here to honor Elie Wiesel, someone who later in my life I had the great gift of getting to know, getting to learn from, And it's rare in someone's life that they get to meet and spend time with someone who they most admire. It's also an honor to be here and be sitting with Marion, who my wife Pam and I have come to love, Ellie's collaborator, his editor, and his lifetime love, Marion. You know, my story is similar, I think, to many of us here, and we're the lucky ones. I grew up in Brooklyn, in Rockland County. My family was from Eastern Europe, mostly from Warsaw. Most of my family got out, some didn't. My grandma Ina's favorite cousin was a doctor in the Warsaw Ghetto. She did have an opportunity to leave, and she decided that she wanted to stay, and she died as a martyr in the Warsaw Ghetto. And so many of us here lost so many. I feel very lucky because most of my family came with nothing, like most of your families, and tried to build a life in this great country. And growing up, I heard from my rabbi, I heard from my parents, I heard from my grandparents this mantra, never again. And as a Jew growing up in the 60s, never again, it really had strong meaning. As Rabbi Shmuley was talking about, what it meant was people stood by in Europe and looked the other way. And America for a long time stood and looked the other way. And never again meant that we had a special obligation. Never again would we as a people stand by when any ethnic group, any religion was being persecuted. And the truth is that it was a great mantra, but we as a people, we never achieved it. Ellie achieved it for us. He believed in it. He lived it every day. For him, he was on a quest to fight hate. That very concept that we grew up with, that made us feel special. We were the lucky ones that made it here. And never again meant that we were going to stand up for everyone. But we didn't. We did a lot, but we didn't. And the person that did was Ellie. When I was 12 years old, I read Night. And in reading it, and I wasn't a big reader, I heard Ellie's voice, and I felt like he was speaking to me. And I think everybody felt like Ellie was speaking to them. That was his magic. He had a quiet voice, and the whole world listened. He made all of us want to do better. He made all of us want to be better. And we need that voice now, that voice against hate. You know, we're in this very precarious moment. And if you look at Europe, it's been 15 years of zero GDP growth, zero. Youth unemployment is between 25 and 30%. And wages, real wages over the last 15 years are down. In the US, it's been 10 years of very small GDP growth, significant unemployment, and wages here in this country down. The last time we saw this situation was from 1925 to 1940. And we know how that ended. It's something that Ellie and Mary and I talked about a lot over the last few years, over dinners that Pam and I cherished. But it's more important than ever that we hear strong voices. Probably the most important voice for us to hear right now, which we heard 2 weeks ago around the world, was Alicia's voice. And that voice is now being heard. It's a voice of leadership that we all have to get behind. All of our voices need to be heard. Never again. Never again for any ethnic or religious group. And never again has that sentiment and all of our energy been needed more. 6 years ago, almost to the day, Oprah Winfrey, who I had the great pleasure of being a partner with and working with on a regular basis. She's a wonderful person. Her show was ending after 25 years. She did over 10,000 shows. And we took a walk after her last show, and I asked her a question. Of all of the shows that you did, all of the interviews, the world leaders, the influential people, the celebrities, which meant the most? And she hesitated for one moment, and she looked at me, and she said, Elie Wiesel and our interview at Auschwitz. Elie Wiesel and our interview at Auschwitz. And she said to me, Elie is a man who lived through hell without ever hating. Elie is a man who was exposed to the most depraved aspects of human nature, but still manages to find love, to believe in God, and to experience joy. The person that I looked up to, the spirit that I looked up to for never again, the person that really lived it, that lived what I heard from my grandparents, from my rabbi, from my parents, was Elie Wiesel. And that is who we all need to get behind, that spirit and that ideal. So I'm thrilled to be here tonight. I was very honored to just be present with Alicia for that special moment. And I thank you, Rabbi, for inviting me. Thank you, Marion. And we have a little tape that just gives you, we all know Elie. We can't really capture him in a tape, but this is a little something about a great man that we all love. Thank you so much.
My good friends, we never try to tell the tale to make people weep. It's too easy. We didn't want pity. If we decided to tell the tale, it is because we wanted the world to be a better world. Just a better world.
Born in Sighet, Romania in 1928, Elie Wiesel was only 15 when he and his family were deported to the Auschwitz death camp. Upon arrival, 90% of those brought in, including Wiesel's mother Sarah and sister Sephora, were murdered in the gas chambers, while Elie and his father Shlomo were confined to forced labor. After being transferred to Buchenwald, Wiesel's father would die just 3 months before the liberation by American forces in April of 1945. After the war, Elie Wiesel moved to France. There he pursued a career in writing. Unlike many survivors who could not bear to face the horrors of their pasts, Elie Wiesel decided to relive every horrid moment of his years in Auschwitz so that the world might know what befell the Jews of Europe, captured as it was from his own perspective.
Oprah, it may sound mad to try to save humanity here at this place. And I choose this madness.
In 1960, Wiesel would publish Night, a groundbreaking work that would become not only an international bestseller, but would come to represent the experiences of the millions murdered before they even had a chance to tell their own stories. Publishing over 40 books in his lifetime, Wiesel's works and ideas would launch him to the global fore. Winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 1986, Elie Wiesel would use his renown and influence to enshrine the memory of those for whom help never came, and protect those for whom it still could.
And each time I ask myself, why, in what way will this day be different from all others? Which means I must do something special, something uniquely special, so that this day will be remembered, at least by me, as a unique episode.
Elie Wiesel gave a voice to the silenced, a face to the nameless, and a story to each and every one of the martyred 6 million. He became the living representative of those lost, dedicating his life toward ensuring that the world never forgot the suffering that befell them, so that others never share their fate.
As a teacher, I always believe in questions. The question is, will the world ever learn?
Ladies and gentlemen, the only son of Elie and Marion Wiesel, who said the last Kaddish for his father tonight, and who gave an incredible speech at Auschwitz in front of not just 12,000 youth, but 20 European Union education ministers. And you all saw the half-page feature on Elisha in the New York Times about 10 days ago. Ladies and gentlemen, Elisha Wiesel.
I want to start by acknowledging and thanking Shmuley and Debbie for their friendship. I want to let you know that in the Boteach household, one can always find an understanding ear, and one can find children and grandchildren being raised as mensches. The Boteach children show their values by serving in the IDF, by joyfully honoring their parents, by teaching shiurim, lessons on Jewish learning, and by racing around on Manhattan streets to find the missing members of the minyan so that a family friend can say Kaddish. Shmuley provokes, Shmuley agitates. He is always forcing me to think about what's on his mind. And he gets things done. This week, I'm proud to announce that we will be finalizing the transfer of my parents' Beit Zipporah centers from the Elie Wiesel Foundation to WITZO, the Women's International Zionist Organization. These centers, which were named after my Aunt Zipporah, who perished in the Shoah, help the Ethiopian community in Israel, through education, advocacy, and love, to become the full members of Israeli society they have every right to be. This strategic alliance will allow my mother's important and impactful pioneering efforts to join a powerful network on the ground in Israel and to remain strong for many decades to come. This partnership is the product of many terrific and good-hearted people, especially Chana and Simon Falek, but it is Shmuley who had the vision for this partnership and drove the execution, and my mother and I are deeply grateful for that, and more broadly, to have him in our lives. Thank you, Shmuley. Now, before I talk to you about our honorees tonight for the first Elie Wiesel Award at the World Values Network, before I talk to you about Matthew or Derek, I need to talk to you about my father, and I need to tell you a story. There was a time when I could not see clearly what I had in my father. It doesn't matter why. I loved him, but I saw his quiet voice as weakness, not strength. I did not want to be like him, so I felt, so I said, and so I acted. And it was at this time, when I had never been more distant from my father, when I had wanted nothing more than to be free of my family's history and its weight, that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave my father a blessing. One day, the Rebbe said, "You will be proud of your son. He will be proud of you, and then you will both be proud of me." I just want to say that I grow prouder of my father with the passage of each and every day. And I hope that the Rebbe and my father are carrying on their grand philosophical discussions and enjoying each other's company up above. Now let me tell you about my father as I see him now. My father was a builder of bridges across generations. Through his love, reaching both forward and backward through time, I feel connected not only to him, but to my grandparents as well. He was a builder of bridges across cultures and faiths. He taught and learned from Hindu and Muslim students. He broke bread with cardinals and atheists. He valued friendship as an ideal above all others. He had a way of seeing the best in people that brought their better natures to the surface. And he pursued his friendships from a position of inner strength and confidence derived from knowing where he came from. Throughout his entire life, he worked with a picture of his childhood home in Siget above his desk. I want to talk to you tonight about these themes, of the things that connect and separate fathers and sons, of the bridges to friendship and the spaces they must cross, and of seeing through to the best in people. And I want to talk to you about my father's voice, which could thunder for justice in front of world leaders, but could also, in its quietness, cause even his most skeptical adversary to lean in and listen carefully. Tonight is about that quiet aspect of my father's voice, about the wonderful and warm person he was, not when he was on the world stage, but when he was engaged in everyday interactions with people, his students, his friends, the taxi driver, an attending physician, the person he just met next to him on the plane. Whether you came up to tell him that you admired him or disagreed with him, he always asked for your name, and he would always take the time to hear your story. We are indebted tonight to the Washington Post, Eli Saslow, for his strong and authentic journalism in sharing a story, in sharing the story of Matthew Stevenson and Derek Black. There is so much my father would have responded to in this story had he lived to hear it. It is the story of an unlikely friendship, of two young men who took a risk in getting to know a stranger across an unfathomable gulf. It is the story of how the unexpected can happen when you engage with people rather than shutting them off. And has it ever been easier than in 2017 to surround ourselves with people who only think what we already think, when you can unfriend someone so easily on Facebook for saying something that offends you? When they first encountered each other, Matthew was a Jewish student on campus who had the bravery to host Shabbat dinners in a place where there were none. Matthew is very much the product of his parents. His father believes in and taught Jewish teachings of self-transformation at the Kabbalah Center. He will undergo heart surgery this week. We wish him a refuah shlema, a complete and speedy recovery. Matthew's mother, who sadly passed away last year, believed fervently in service to others. And so Matthew came to college with a strong base of confidence and values. He reached out to other groups and faiths, and those without either, and made his table a focal point for fellowship and dialogue. And then a chance encounter involving country music. Yes, I finally have a reason to be grateful for country music. Brought him and Derek together. And he saw in Derek a soul who seemed isolated, who had grown up through no fault of his own in an environment where hatred was woven into the fabric of daily life. Derek had been groomed to inherit a legacy, and he was already attracting a following due to his strong, innate qualities as a leader. But Derek sought a lower profile on campus. Away from home for the first time, he was determined to pursue rational thought wherever it led him. And after meeting Matthew and his friends and becoming close to people he had been taught to hate, he wrestled with what he thought and felt and furiously considered what it would mean to break with his past. Words, my father wrote, can sometimes, in rare moments, attain the quality of deeds. As Matthew, Derek, and friends exchanged words and ideas with each other, could there have been a more important conversation going on in the world at that moment? Think of all the barriers that prevent us from opening ourselves up to someone else's ideas, the preconceived notions we can have about each other. I know I have mine. What are yours? Try this one on for size. All Trump voters supported the alt-right, so I can't talk to them. Orthodox Jews are taught what to think. How could they possibly understand me? This one you'll recognize. Zionists can't be feminists. They don't belong in this movement. Matthew and Derek broke through those walls to find out what was on the other side. They broke through the labels and preconceptions and found nothing more and nothing less than each other, fellow human beings. I find what happened next and what happened after that to be just as profound. Derek took the unbelievably brave step of recognizing his friendship with Matthew and recognizing that hatred no longer had a place in his heart, and posting a powerful letter to a liberal online publication, he publicly distanced himself from the views he had been taught since birth. He distanced himself from Stormfront. He distanced himself from white supremacy. He distanced himself from hatred. The reckoning was immediate. Derek wrote me in an exchange last week that his father experienced his only son's break from the white supremacist movement like a death. When he reached out to his family after the article, he was no longer welcome, except his father still wanted to see him. His father ignored the objections of the rest of his family to be with his son. Derek wrote, "It was uncomfortable at times, but we had spent years talking about politics, science, the news, philosophy, and we could still do that. I was now on the other side, but I was still the same person." Does Derek's father know what he has in his son? Derek's father should be so deeply proud of him for his courage, for his humility, for his love. I am deeply moved that they still talk, that Derek's father loves his son more than he loves his ideology. And although I could not disagree more with the hateful views Don Black has promoted, I am inspired by the son who is a credit to his father's name. And now, many years later, for me, having benefited from the Lubavitcher Rebbe's blessing, I want to gently hand that blessing over to the Black family in the hopes that it will find a home there. I pray tonight that Derek's father will see the true value of his son more quickly than the decades it took me to see the value in my father. I pray he will join his son in renouncing hatred. I pray that when that moment happens, Derek will be proud of his father will be proud of him, and they will both be proud of Eli Wiesel, Zichrono Livracha, a man who deeply believed in peace, in dialogue, and in the love between fathers and sons, the man in whose name we give this award tonight. Please join me in raising a glass to our honorees of the World Values Network First Eli Wiesel Award. This world needs more of their leadership. May they inspire us and others for many years to come. To Matthew, to Derek, and most importantly, to their friendship, L'chaim. And let's roll video.
White nationalists. Derek Black began creating and running children's white nationalist sites from an early age, eventually becoming a regular speaker on white nationalist radio talk shows. When he went to college, he kept a low profile, but students found out about his identity nonetheless. One student, Matthew Stevenson, decided that rather than ostracize Derek or protest his presence in the way that might be expected on a college campus, He would invite Derek to his Shabbat dinners to share his culture and hospitality amongst a group of diverse students. Over time, after many months of this peaceful inclusion and conversations with Matthew and other new friends, Derek began to avoid radio talk show appearances and blog postings. Finally, Derek confronted his past and publicly denounced hatred against other races and faiths. Though he's lost the respect of white nationalists, he has gained respect for others. And so we honor both Derek and Matthew with the Elie Wiesel Award for their incredible fight to combat prejudice through the power of dialogue and friendship.
Derek, come to the picture. Yeah. And Derek?
And Derek, wait.
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much to Alicia and to all of you for the recognition that you're giving me tonight. When I first met Derek, no one at the school, no one at our university knew about his background. But when they found out, the campus was in an uproar, and it got quite ugly. Some people did hateful things and actively tried to get him expelled. At the time, my good friend and fellow student Moshe Ash and I had started hosting Shabbat dinners every Friday in my dorm room for people of any background and any religion who were interested in attending. And we talked about the treatment that Derek had been receiving and decided to invite him to one of those Shabbat dinners, not to ambush him, but to allow him to form human connections and to see firsthand the people and the things that his ideology despised. In fact, we agreed it would be best not to bring up white nationalism at all. I felt and have since confirmed that had I tried to immediately argue about the rightness or wrongness of his views, that Derek would have gone on the defensive and never come back. So even though he came back week after week, we never directly discussed his racial views. And when he went off to grad school, I didn't know if those views had changed at all. However, he soon renounced the ideology he'd spent his whole life promoting, and credits those Shabbat dinners and the resulting friendships, particularly with Allison Gornick, as the spark that invited that change. Both Moshe and Allison are here tonight. I believe the story teaches two valuable lessons. First, that anyone, no matter what they've done or how entrenched they are in those behaviors, can transform themselves and change their lives. And second, you can respect a person as a human being, even if you don't agree with their views. You can still treat them with human dignity. If each one of us took upon ourselves these individual efforts, I have no doubt that we could change the world. Thank you.
Like Matthew, I'm greatly honored to receive this and to be here tonight. Speaking with Alicia over the last several weeks, I've realized what a genuine, caring, good man he is and the burden that he bears from his family lineage. And everyone here should know what an honor it is to receive something in his father's name from his hand. And with that said, it also feels quite strange to stand here. At one point during the preparation, I was told that it was typical to reach out to your networks in order to try to secure journal ads. But in my case, most of the people I know would think that we're here promoting the Zionist government and afterwards we're going to go talk about how to destroy Western culture. And that's really difficult for me. It may be hard to understand, but in many ways I feel that my actions renouncing white nationalism are consistent with some of the ways and the values that I was raised with. When I was raised, we were supposed to think critically about the flaws in our society and to do whatever we could to fix them, no matter what the consequences were. And I know that my family will disagree, do vociferously, many don't speak to me. But I hope they understand that it's those values that I continue to strive towards standing here tonight. And those gathered in this room can likely see better than most that dynamics of in-group and out-group and exclusion can take many forms in many different societies, and even the most outwardly civilized places can act in shocking ways when the majority decides who is that outsider. And that definition of an outsider changes constantly. Anyone who observes the ideology that I came from and white nationalism and notes that Jews are considered not white in that ideology will understand that inclusion is very fickle and that the consequences are very high. I spent the first several years after I renounced white nationalism trying to keep as low a profile as I could, to keep my head down, because I thought that the course of history was fine, that I just wanted to forget my past. Then events changed. The author of the article reached out to me a second time after I had told him to go to hell a year before. It was 2016. I thought things were different and that in some ways I was different. So I thank Eli Sasla for writing that article and changing the way that I think about my own past and in some ways the role that I play now in my life. I relate to my own story in a different way, and I hope that it does some good. It's certainly a hard road ahead for all of us, so I thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is not every day that a dinner enjoys the presence of a head of state. That's especially true when that head of state is one of Israel's foremost friends and the only man alive to have stopped a genocide. We wanted the introduction to President Paul Kagame of Rwanda to be unique. We wanted it to be special. We wanted it to be unforgettable. So before I introduce the world-renowned America's doctor, really the world's doctor, the most famous doctor in the world, who just won the Daytime Emmy for Best Daytime TV Show. Let's hear it for Dr. Mehmet Oz. I wanted to personally thank President Kagame, who has to run a country, who has to protect his people, who has lent dignity to the people of Rwanda, and who has established such close ties with the Jewish people in Israel, for your love of the Jewish people, your closeness to the Jewish state, and for the value you've given your people through what you've done for them. We're extremely grateful that you're here, Mr. President, and it's our honor to have Dr. Mehmet Oz to do the introduction.
Thank you, Shmuley. I've been to quite a few dinners with Shmuley, Seder dinners, and I'm always impressed at the questions. The answers are interesting as well, but the questions are unique. And Jewish values, of course, always ask quite profoundly that we serve others. And then they go on to say, more you have to ask how than why. So let me speak a bit about President Paul Kagame. He became the president of Rwanda in 2000 in a nation that seemed to have irreconcilable differences. Shmuley touched on some of what was going on during the years preceding that. The nation that had suffered continually for quite a long time. And as Shmuley pointed out, you have become the only known individual who has stopped a genocide. You arrested a crisis, just to make sure everyone's on the same page, in which Hutu extremists had slaughtered 850,000 Tutsi and moderate Hutus. A huge number. The idea of rivers being jammed with 300 dead bodies or more every hour, is one that I read in several different locations, and it was reported to me from a primary source as well. And when the genocide was initiated, there were folks who fought back. Many sought to make a difference. And the Rwandan Patriotic Front, led by President Kagame, warned the United Nations that it needed immediately to intervene. Paradoxically, the opposite happened. The United Nations withdrew their troops, and the civil war continued. If I can quote Thomas Hobbes, hell is truth seen too late. Truth seen too late, that is hell. While masterfully commanding a depleted army against mightier government forces, General Kagame was forced to heavily recruit from anybody who was out there who was willing to help the survivors and the refugees created by this genocide. 3 months after the genocide broke out, with a resounding military victory, President Kagame broke through, ended the genocide. And my friends, that was the easy part. That was the easy part, because what he had to do next is something that I still don't understand, and I'm going to ask President Kagame to explain to us. How do you keep people from paying back what was done to them? How do you get that woman we heard of earlier, with Debbie and Shmuley, couldn't hug because she lost the capacity to do that, not to take extreme action against the people who killed her 1-year-old and her husband? So Rwanda's emerged as a technological and agricultural hub, unrivaled prosperity. That doesn't happen if you don't have solutions. It's become just a touristic destination. There are all kinds of global entrepreneurship indices that have reported Rwanda as being one of the best countries in the continent of Africa to do business. So how do you do that? I'll use words that he has used: dignity, integrity, somehow rising above. He wouldn't trust anybody else to protect his people, turning down opportunities to be protected because he knew they had to do it themselves. He fought aggressively to protect his nation with the people he had. He lobbied for Umuganda. Umuganda is a half-day-a-month mandatory service for public works. Everyone gets together and puts the sewer system back together. Once a month, basically, everyone gets to sit around and talk about race and reconciliation. It's mandatory. It takes a lot of guts to do that. And I asked some of his team that was here, and as they were struggling with great pride to explain why he was impactful, they said because he knows that failure is not an option. He knows that if he sets the standard and is forceful, then people will follow. That's what great leaders do. And here's the reality. People no smarter than you, people not better at this than you, make the rules by which you live. Why not make those rules yourself? He also got pretty comfortable being misunderstood, which I think is true of many great leaders. Why bother correcting all the time? People will see if you keep doing the right thing. Now, I mentioned Thomas Hobbes before, that hell is truth seen too late. I think it was true of the Shoah, but it's true of many crises since. Helen Keller, who's Swedenborgian, that's my wife's religion, said that worse than being blind, and remember, Helen Keller was born blind, unable to hear, and therefore couldn't speak, and she learned with great teachers to be able to communicate. She said, worse than being blind is being blessed with sight with no vision. President Kagame, you have great vision, something that is uniquely an attribute that you've been able to share with your countrymen. And you've considered yourself a friend of Israel, a country that I too consider myself a friend of. It's emblematic of so much that we're looking for in the world. Now, last year, President Netanyahu traveled to Uganda to commemorate the 40th anniversary of his late brother Yoni successfully leading a rescue mission there. There's an intricacy and an intertwining between these two great nations. Later, he traveled to Rwanda, boosting ties and supporting the needs of Rwanda and Israel to commonly mark this genocide. Now, I know firsthand the appreciation that non-Jews, because I am one, can have for Jewish values. So I take immense pride in presenting the Dr. Miriam and Sheldon Adelson Award for Friendship of the Jewish people to the President of Rwanda. And I'll leave with this last phrase, because this is what he demonstrates, that kindness is heard by the deaf and seen by the blind. That's that fitting opposite of being too late and seeing it. So, President Kagame, please join us. Congratulations. Oh, I have a 1-minute video,
President Paul Kagame has been one of the world's foremost fighters against genocide, launching the Rwandan Patriotic Front rebel movement and ending the 1994 genocide in Rwanda that claimed the lives of nearly 1 million people. Then, in 2013, the president spoke on a panel, along with Elie Wiesel and Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, about the obligation the strong have to protect the weak throughout the tragedy of genocide. As a champion of peace and promoter of productive relations between Rwanda and Israel, and the greater global Jewish community, we are proud to present President Kagame with the prestigious Dr. Miriam and Sheldon G. Adelson Award for Outstanding Friendship with the Jewish People.
Mike? Mike?
Rabbi Shumley Bartek, President of the World Values Network, Michael Fromer, Chairman of the World Values Network, Mrs. Marion Wiesel and Alicia Wiesel, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Dr. Ozzie, and good evening to all of you. It is an honor to be with you tonight for this very special event. For a Rwandan, friendship with the Jewish people is entirely natural. We share experiences which empower us to understand what justice, fairness mean. This award, therefore, deeply meaningful to us. It is greatly appreciated. To Miriam and Sheldon Adelson, I wanted to say thank you. The moral conscience of Elie Wiesel transcended his own experiences, and it was a privilege to have known him. His message was universal and timeless, and it is the reason we are here tonight. 2 points in particular stand out. First, he placed human dignity at the absolute center of everything else. We are called upon to have solidarity with those who stand up and fight back against those who would deprive others of this dignity. Second, hate can never be justified, irrespective of whatever grievance one may hold. It may not be easy, but it is our responsibility to keep this corrosive emotion in check and out of public affairs. More generally, we must always endeavor to act differently from those who adhere to ideologies of hatred. The price of redemption is repentance, and it is sealed by forgiveness. Peace is built on mutual respect and sustained by compassion. As we know, acts of repentance and forgiveness, among others, and among brothers and sisters are what allowed us and allowed the divided family of Jacob to reconcile and ultimately became the nation of Israel, which endures today. In Rwanda, we see similarities with this lesson. Every day, Rwandans are devoting themselves to the urgent task of deepening our national unity. Doing so must remain a priority for every future generation. Efforts to deny and trivialize genocide are on the rise around the world. Yet, the fact of genocide cannot be avoided. We must come together to confront this serious threat and ensure that it does not take root in any society. I would like, therefore, to take this opportunity to commend Rabbi Shumley and the World Values Network for the initiative to establish the International Genocide Center. Thank you. We look forward to collaborating with it actively in Kigali. In the face of such persistent dangers, we cannot rely on empty words and promises for our security and well-being. We will always protect ourselves. Wherever we can, we will also contribute to protecting others who are at risk. To echo the famous words of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, in quotes, the main thing is to have no fear, in quotes. When you are doing the right thing, fear gives way to courage and determination. I thank you once again for this recognition of our friendship. I'm very happy and honored to share this evening in celebration of Elie Wiesel's legacy, and I wish you all an enjoyable evening. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us as we complete a Torah scroll in memory of the Holocaust, the genocide against the Tutsi of Rwanda, and celebration of the life of Elie Wiesel.
Ladies and gentlemen, now is I want to thank President Kagame for those beautiful words about overcoming fear and insisting on the moral imperative of protecting life. We are in celebration of that. We are about to complete the writing of a Torah dedicated. Can I have the mantle, please? This Torah scroll, which is the holiest object in the Jewish religion, it says, dedicated by the World Values Network in memory of the victims of the Holocaust and the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, and in celebration of the life of Elie Wiesel. Eliezer ben Shlomo, and Shlomo was Elie Wiesel's father, and Elisha's named after him, the world's foremost witness to genocide. The 26th of Iyar, which is tonight, exactly 11 months to the death of Elie Wiesel, the last Kaddish, And then it says, like the burning bush which was not consumed, those aflame with the love of God and humanity will endure forever. Mr. President, our people were consumed by fire and your people were consumed, but those who burn with the love of God and humanity, they are never consumed, they endure forever. So we are going to finish the last letters in your presence, Mr. President, and the presence of Alicia Wiesel. Do we have the sofa on the table? Okay. You should take the Torah from President Kagame. So he's going to do a letter with you, and we're... Just hold on to a handle. Okay, right. So we're all going to hold... The last few letters will be done. We'll hold on to the scribe's hand, and we'll do the last letters. Okay? First of all, Mr. President. Let's come around. We made this Torah very small so it could be portable. We'd like to take it to Rwanda, God willing. We'd like to take it to Jerusalem. We want to make sure that it's in all the places where people have suffered and we have to affirm life. So, Mr. President, if you can come, is it on this side the best? Mr. President, let's all come over here. Everyone please rise. This is a very special, this is the first Torah to be named after Elie Wiesel since his passing. Where's my daughter Shayna? Shayna arranged this entire Torah. Come here, please. You want to do it with it? It would be a great honor for us if Marion Wiesel would join us as well, if she'd like to. Can't she? Marion, would you like to join us? Okay. Okay, so let's, Mr. President, so you're going to hold the hand of the scribe and you're going to do it with him, okay? Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Can we do... Thank you, Mr. President. Our Torah is a Torah of life, and thank you for everything you've done for life, Mr. President. God bless you, Mr. President. Can we have Elie Wiesel's only grandson, beautiful Elijah, with the most beautiful locks on earth? Will you do a letter for us? Okay. Thank you, Elijah. Yes, with your hand. Good idea. And she would hold on to your hand. And you hold on to the sofa's hand, okay? Wait, you're not done. Alicia, let's do the same thing. Your mother can hold your hand and you hold the sofa. Is that okay? Okay. We want to do everything right? Okay. Marion, you want to hold on to your son's hand? Where are you, Ariel? Where's my son Yosef? Where's Yosef and David Chaim? Thank you. Yeah, quick. He does it quick. Real fast, real fast, real fast. The people who bought a letter? Yeah.
Yankee Bachman? Yankee Bachman,
Okay.
where are you? Please come up and write
Like,
your
you want to do
letter.
one more? The same thing with letters? Same thing. How many letters we have? Okay. And the Israeli Minister of Agriculture, Uri Ariel. Uri, we're trying to move things along, but this is a very precious moment. God, are we right? And ladies and gentlemen, truly one of the great Jews alive today, the creator of Birthright Israel, one of the 2 or 3 most famous Jewish philanthropists on planet Earth, Michael Steinhardt, a hero to us all. Michael. Sata, we need every bracha we can get. Michael. Michael engineered a program, as you all know, that's taken 600,000 young Jews to Israel for free and was chosen by the state of Israel to light the flame on Yom Ha'atzmaut. Okay, how many letters are left? What? As many as we need. Okay. Michael, David? Thank you, Michael. We're almost done. We're trying to, okay. Yeah, tell Jimmy.
Jimmy Garson needs you up here to write a letter. Where's Jimmy, please?
By the way, we were using the Torah also to try to raise funds to create this anti-genocide center, and we wanted people to participate in the letters, but we're so limited on time now. Because, Mike, go ahead, please. Tell him. Where's Yankee? If he got it, tell him to come. Well, very quickly, my son-in-law Arik and my 2 sons. Where's Arik? Arik, fast.
Yankee
There's no time. Where's Arik? Okay.
Yankee, we're calling you.
Okay.
Come on, Yankee.
Okay, we're gonna.
Come on. It's your letter.
Okay, and I'm gonna do one, and then Alicia's gonna do the last letter. Hareini Kaisev L'Shem Kedusha Sefer Torah.
Have to still finish up a bunch of them afterwards.
Okay.
Should finish the last letter? Is that the last word?
What?
Should I finish the last word?
No. I think we'll wait. Okay. Quick. Yosef, fast. You have 1 second. Okay, go ahead. Who? Jimmy? Okay, Yosef. Where's Arik? Okay. Arash, you got 1 second. A second. We're done. Okay, Jimmy, let's go. Okay. Arik, fast. Let's go. Yes, David, and then Alicia's going to be doing the last letter. Just come here to touch us with him. Arash, that's it. And then Alicia. You say this. Can you make Shechianu?
This doesn't work. David.
Okay. I'm going to say Shechianu on everyone's behalf. I'm glad our sofa.
Sorry. What? Oh,
Okay. I want to thank our expert scribe, Rabbi Raskin. Beautiful Torah, look how gorgeous it is. And I'm going to say the blessing. Everyone, please say Amen. And Alicia is going to say, we're going to say Shechianu. Okay? And Marion, this Torah should be an everlasting legacy to Eli, God willing. Go fast, because Alicia's got to just do this. Okay. You need a yarmulke. Arash was my student at Oxford. He knows he has to wear a yarmulke. Okay. Say it with him. Do it with him. Say Shechianu as well, Shechianu. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We're gonna, no, Alicia. Okay. This is it? We're going to complete it now? The Torah will be kosher after this. Let's say the Shechianu together. Everyone say it together. Whoever signed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu v'kiyimanu v'giyanu lizman azeh. And just before you do the last letter, Mr. President, I hope this Torah will be a bond between our two peoples, not through a shared history of tragedy, but through a shared future of promise. And thank you for your friendship to the Jewish people. And I hope that we can always have a special presence for Rwanda with the Jewish people and the people of Rwanda. God bless you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. David, want to do a talk? What? David and David. Okay. You said Shechianu? Okay. Mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov.
Give it 3 minutes and we do Hagla?
Yeah.
3 minutes of Hagla, and then you could
Okay. Our program is now. Can someone help me here? Where's our? Okay.
That's good.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Marion. Thank you. That's a very big. Mr. President, can we take a picture with Mrs. Weasel? Michael, turn around. One picture. Mr. President, come. Do we have a photographer here? Ready? Here.
Okay, we're going to feed everybody now?
Yes.
Last one.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Mike? Ladies and gentlemen, please sit down and enjoy your dinner, and the program will resume. Thank you so much for your patience. This beautiful Torah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our good friend and CEO of Sterling Risk, David Sterling.
Good evening, everybody. When you arrived here, many of you got a link on your cell phones, and I'm going to explain what that's for right now. You heard earlier this evening both Rabbi Shmuley and President Kagame make reference to a genocide center that the World Values Network is working on creating. The Genocide Center is designed to prevent or stop genocides from occurring. It has 4 main components: a PR and notification service. So when a genocide is discovered, the Genocide Center will be making sure that the world knows about it, so there will be no silence. An action and intervention. This will be scholars from the Genocide Center, world scholars, will be contacting world leaders to see what can be done, either through the United Nations or directly, to intervene and stop a genocide. Advisory and lobbying. This again will be the scholars from the Genocide Center going to world leaders and political bodies and trying to help them understand what's going on and what needs to be done. And prevention. Prevention is probably the most important leg. Wherever we see hatred and prejudice raising its head, the Genocide Center will be stepping in. But in order for the Genocide Center to go from dream to reality, we are going to need everybody here to step up, get on your phones, and try to contribute as much as you possibly can. My goal is to put this dinner out of business. If the Genocide Center can be created, and if the Genocide Center is successful, there'll be no need for this dinner any longer. So please, if you value not coming to this dinner any longer, please give generously to the link on your phone.
We're gonna do the pedals. People are gonna raise their hands, so I can begin.
I have some late-breaking news. We're going to try to get some people, anybody who doesn't have a link or anybody who wants to be publicly acknowledged, we'd like to come up with some giving categories and see if there's anybody in the room who would like to give. The first giving category is $250,000. Do I have anybody in the room who wants to give $250,000?
Don't all raise your hands at once. Yeah, don't all raise your hands at once. This is going to be a brief fundraising portion. We hope that you can all help us to realize our vision for everything that we do. In order to make this right, we're going to show a video of what the organization does, and then we're going to come back, think about what you might want to give, and then we have some very special speakers. So, Scott, your organization's video, and then we'll...
Okay.
Oh, hang on. It's not? Let's get it queued up now. Okay. I'm going to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, our son is getting married. We're very grateful to God. Debbie and I are going to pledge $18,000 to the organization and honor 9 children, $2,000 each. That's $18,000. Thank you very much. Dr. Miriam and Sheldon Adelson, who are on their way to Israel, Yom Yerushalayim, have pledged $500,000 to the organization, and we're extremely grateful. Michael Steinhardt has made a major gift to the organization, which made this entire dinner possible. Michael, thank you very much. Yeah? Okay. Everyone please pay attention to the screens behind us. And then we'll do David?
In 2007, Rabbi Shmuley and Debbie Boteach founded the World Values Network to further their vision of impacting the world globally with the power of Jewish values. Its mission is to provide a highly visible platform for the Jewish community to spread its light to the nations, strengthen American families and the American spirit, and fight genocide globally. After being sent by his mentor, the world's foremost Jewish spiritual authority, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, to serve as rabbi at Oxford University, where he established one of the largest student groups in Oxford's history. Rabbi Shmuley advanced his dream of making Judaism a global force with the World Values Network. Since its inception, the organization has staged hundreds of high-profile events, conferences, public debates, and we have brought the fight against campus anti-Israel and BDS to the world's leading universities.
Israel's a strong country. We learned after the Second World War we had no choice. We learned after seeing some of the reactions in the room tonight that we couldn't rely on other people to protect us. And God bless the IDF.
Rabbi Shmuley has emerged as one of the world's best-known defenders of Israel, champions of marriage and family, and human rights advocates. From Oprah to CNN, from the BBC to Al Jazeera, and from the New York Times to the Wall Street Journal, Rabbi Shmuley has emerged as a global Jewish ambassador to the nations. On social media, the World Values Network has utilized its nearly 1.5 million followers to raise awareness and support for important programs and events, such as raising funds for wounded Israeli soldiers highlighting the plight of Arab citizens murdered by poison gas in Syria, and ensuring that victims of genocide from Armenia, the Holocaust, Cambodia, and Rwanda are never forgotten. Over the years, we have published dozens of award-winning full-page ads in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and The Guardian, among other leading outlets. With these powerful ads, we have brought truth to the fore of the world's focus. Whether it was telling the world about the atrocities of ISIS and Hamas, the genocidal threats against the Jewish people being leveled by Iran, or the slaughter of gay men and women in the Middle East, we made sure that the truth would receive even more space than did the lies peddled so often by the enemies of Israel and humanity. Some of our most recent ad campaigns included protecting Israel from anti-Semitic condemnations at the UN, all during the annihilation in Aleppo. Another called upon the United States government to fully recognize Jerusalem as Israel's eternal capital by moving the American embassy from the coastal city of Tel Aviv to the very heart of Israel in the holy city of Jerusalem. With a unique focus on the universality of Jewish ideals, the World Values Network is a leading force in the fight against genocide, mass murder, and human rights abuses throughout the world, promoting family, relationships, and personal dignity, and standing up for and promoting the State of Israel, the Middle East's only democracy. And now, we announce our boldest initiative yet, the creation of a global anti-genocide center, headquartered in New York, with planned offices in Jerusalem and Rwanda, where scholars, experts, and activists will educate the world on genocide and monitor human rights abuses so that never again means never again. We ask for your support in making this dream of a focused and global anti-genocide initiative a reality. We are partners in this great endeavor to make the world brighter, safer, and more blessed. Help us spread the light.
Okay. In order to make this easier for you to give to this
incredible cause, I'm going to bring up Pat Tully, who is our live auctioneer tonight. The items that you can bid on are going to go, the proceeds are going to go directly to the World Values Network. And anytime during Pat's auction, anybody who's moved to stand up and give money, please do. And all of you at any time can go on the link on your phones and you can give money that way. Pat, please.
Thank you very much, David. Yes, as David was saying, this is the dinner where it's rude not to be on your phone. You know what I'm saying here? We want to get some pledges coming through there, so keep the pledging coming, keep the donations coming through the phone, right through the 501 platform, very simple to do. And also, Rabbi Shmuley Botek told me that he had blessed the credit cards and the checkbooks. So on that note, yes, on that note, we can get right into it. And our first item up for bid tonight is a fantastic opportunity. We saw Dr. Oz. He was right here just a few minutes ago. Dr. Oz experience, here's what you're going to get. It is 4 VIP tickets to go see the Dr. Oz show taped live right here in New York City. Absolutely once in a lifetime. After the show, you will go backstage and you will meet Dr. Oz. You will hang out with Dr. Oz, get the selfie for Facebook, whatever you need. I'm sure everybody's on the Snapchat now too. That's okay. Also, after that, you're going to want to talk about it. You're going to be buzzing. So we have dinner for 4 people at Kolbe Restaurant. And also, as we saw him here tonight, he was fantastic, and this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And of course, this was anonymously donated to us by Dr. Oz. So, on that note, let's get right into it, get the arms going here, and the opening bid for this great package, and if we could bring the lights up just a little bit so we can see all of our generous bidders out there, opening bid for this package, just $2,500 for this package. $2,500 is the opening bid, $2,500 is the bid. $2,500 is the opening bid right now, 2,500 American dollars here, $2,500 is the bid. $25 is the bid right now, $25 is the bid, $2,500 is the bid, opening bid right now. You and Dr. Oz hanging out, a photo with you and Dr. Oz, unbelievable opportunity, once in a lifetime. $2,500 is the opening bid right now, $2,500 is the bid. $2,500, you know what? I know you guys that you're having your dinner, you're enjoying yourself, so let's just get this going here to have some fun, and we'll open the bidding at $1,000. $1,000 is the opening bid. 4 people. 4 people go to meet Dr. Oz. 1,000 is the opening bid right now. 1,000 is the bid. 1,000. There's 1,000 right there. Thank you very much, David. An anonymous bid from David. Thank you so much. 1,000 is the bid there. 1,500 be the next bid. 1,500 be the next bid right now. 1,500 right there, sir. Thank you. 2,000 if you've been up bid. You've been up bid. The numbers are going up, unfortunately. Don't look. Yes, 2,000 to you. Is that 2,000 to you, sir? Yes, I thought you were just going, all right, I get it. The numbers are going up. No, it's an actual bid. 2,000 bid, 2,500 to you, sir. 2,500 to you. 2,500 to you. Let's go see our friend right here. How are we? We got some wine coming around to keep the bidding going a little bit more. Sir, how about $2,250? How about that? I just saved you 5. Is that yes? That was a yes. $2,250, David. 2,500 to you. 2,500 to you, David. 2,500. We got 2,250. 2,500 to you. 25 to you. We're going to go come. Let's go and see, David, see how things are going over here. He was so happy. He was going to take you guys. It was going to be a great time. Now everyone's going to be a little bit disappointed they're not going to go. But what do you say about 2,500? You think about that? No. He deserves it there at $2,250. I got it. I understand. So $2,250 is the bid. If I don't see another bid in the room, it's my friend right here at $2,250. Here we're going once, $2,250 right here, going twice, and it is sold right there, sir. Table 15, thank you. That is how we do it here in New York. Here we go, moving right along, our next item up for bid. Look at this fantastic package we have here. You're enjoying your dinner here tonight, but the most exclusive restaurant reservation in New York City is Rayo's. You cannot get a table. If you're Bo Dietl, you can get a table, but that's about it. You cannot get a table to this, so we're bringing the table to you. It is a table for 10 people in your home. Beautiful Rayo's dinner. The chef calls you a week beforehand. He says, you want the gabagool? We'll get you the gabagool. You want the shvoyadel for dessert? Don't worry about it. We'll make that happen for you. All of that great food, and of course, we can make this kosher, so no problem there. So it's 10 people. All the food is included. The chef comes to your house, tells the stories about the legendary Rayo's, brings an assistant with him to help clean up everything else. And of course, as I said, this is for 10 people. Opening bid for this great package, Rayo's in your home, priceless opportunity, is just $5,000. $5,000 is the opening bid right now. $5,000 is the bid. $5,000 opening bid. Rayo's in your house there. $5,000. We can bring the lights up just a little bit so we can see those generous hands. There you go. $5,000 is the bid. $5,500 would be the next bid. I got a $5,000 bid right there. $55,000 would be the next bid. $5,500 would be the next bid right now. Rayo's can be kosher. Kosher Rayo's in your house for 10 people. $5,000 is the bid there. $5,500. Wave that hand. Scream it out if I don't see it. $5,500 bid. I got a $5,000 bid right there on this side of the room. $5,000 is the bid there. $5,500. I'll take $5,250. I'll take $5,250. I like that. Just saved you $250. He's in for $5,000 right now, so you didn't get to go to Dr. Oz, but now 10 people are going to be able to enjoy this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have dinner from Rayo's in your home. $5,000 is the bid. Do I see $5,250 anywhere in the room? Do I see $5,250? That man right there at table 14 is saying, no, he's just learning right now. That was almost a very expensive dinner. Okay, he's now under the table. He's hiding. We'll go find him later, make sure he is okay, and the heart palpitations have come down. Okay, $5,000 is a bid if I don't see another bid in the room. Sir, you may be stealing this here at just $5,000. $5,000 is a bid right now if I don't see another bid in the room going once. $5,000 going twice, and it is so $5,000 right here at table 4. He gave me the thumbs up. He's very excited. That was quite a deal. Oh, I think we can do a little better than that. Let's get some applause going here for table 4. Yes. Our next, thank you. Was that for me? No, it was not. Our next item up for bid, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what we have here. Ultimate Las Vegas experience brought to us by our friend Sheldon Adelson. Here is what you're going to get. 3-night stay, and 3-night stay in Vegas is really like a 7-night stay, you know what I mean? It's quite a party there. 3-night stay in Vegas for 2 at the Venetian or the Palazzo, and you're like, wow, that's pretty nice. I can just go online and get that. No. Sheldon Adelson donated this to us, and he owns the place. This is his joint, he walks in, VIP red carpet, and you're his guest there. So round-trip airfare for 2 to get you to Las Vegas. Also, when you get out of the airport at McCarran in Vegas, we have a limo that picks you up, brings you right to the hotel, and at the end of your stay, that limo brings you right back to the airport. Also, Canyon Ranch Spa, the finest spa in the world in Vegas there. Canyon Ranch Spa treatments for 2. You also get 2 tickets to any show. Thank you. It's exciting. Yes. 2 tickets to any show playing at the Venetian or the Palazzo, and also dinner for 2 nights at the best restaurants that they have there. They've got some of the best restaurants in the world with the best chefs in the world right there. And, of course, those can be done kosher as well for you. And also, you're going to get this lunch. Lunch with Sheldon Adelson. If you tried to get lunch with him, you cannot buy that. You cannot get that anywhere. The man doesn't have the time, but he's providing this opportunity for you. All that great stuff can be yours, and the opening bid for this package is just $5,000 for a trip to Vegas and lunch with Sheldon Adelson. Who wouldn't want to have lunch with him and talk about some great stories there? $5,000, do you have a bid right now? $5,000 is the bid for Vegas. $5,000, yes, thank you very much, Jimmy. $5,000, Jimmy's very excited there. That arm went very high in the air. You may have dislocated the elbow on that one, Jimmy. Got very excited. $5,000 is the bid. $5,500 will be the next bid. $5,500 will be the next bid right now. $5,500 is the bid. Mutually agreed upon date for that lunch with Sheldon. He's a very busy man, but we'll work it out for you. $5,000 is the bid. There's $5,500 right there. $6,000 to you, sir. $6,000 bid. I got $5,500 right there. He was waving to me. I think that was a legitimate bid. Yes, it was. $6,000 to you. You say yes? Hand in the air. A thumb. Yes. $6,000. Flights, hotel, 3 nights in Vegas, dinner. Oh, it's $6,000. I wasn't sure if you were just like, well, I'm thinking about it. $6,000 bid. $6,500 to you, sir. 65 is a bid. That's a yes. That is a yes. Raise the hand there. Just confirm that there. $6,500 is the bid. There he said right there. $7,000 is the bid. $7,000 be the bid. And we got a $6,500. Now we got a bidding war going on. $6,500 is the bid. $7,000 in the back of the room. Do I have a bid? Do I have a bid in the back of the room? $7,000 in the back of the room. Thank you very much. $7,500 to you, sir. $7,500 against $7,000 right there. $7,500 here. We got $7,000 there. Jimmy, you just were excited at $6,500. Now we need you to be excited at $7,500. No, he's out of $7,500. This gentleman over here at table 15, $7,500. Say yes. He says yes. $8,000 in the back of the room. Do we have 8? Do we have 8,000? I got 75 right there. 8,000 in the back of the room. 8,000. I got 7,500. We've got 8. Yes, we do. We've got $8,000. It is 8,500 to you, sir. 8,500. Yeah, thinking about it. It's lunch. There's $10,000, ladies and gentlemen. 10,000. Or he was saying raise the roof with 2 hands, but I think it's 10,000. It is 10,000. Do I have a $10,500 bid right now? 10,500 be the bid. 10,500. We got 10,000 over here. Do we have a 10,500? He's looking at his friend right there. He's like, we can split this. We can split it. It's great. It's a great opportunity. Great deal. 10,000 is the bid. If I don't see another bid in the room, it's 10,000 right here going once. 10,000 over here on this side of the room here going twice. And it is sold. $10,000. Table 15. And a bargain at that. Fantastic. Here we go. Moving right along. Thank you. All that great stuff is going to be yours, and you're going to have a great time. He's thinking of the questions he's going to ask Sheldon right now. I can hear it. What, our next item for bid, what is the toughest ticket in town? That's right, sir. It is Hamilton. Hamilton is the show about history that made history at the Tonys. 16 Tony Awards it won. 16, and as you told me earlier, sir, they're going to actually rename the Tony Awards the Hamiltons. So that was, you told me that. I'm going to have to take that as the truth there. So we've got 2 fantastic tickets for the show for you. Also, before the show, you're going to be hungry, you're going to want to eat. We've got dinner for 2, which is nice. We can all have dinner in the theater district beforehand. That's nice. Oh, not just dinner. Dinner with 2 of the castmates in the show beforehand. You're having dinner with guys that are in Hamilton. They're going to go, you'll excuse me if I'm eating fast, but I do have to perform the greatest show ever to be on Broadway right now, so I'll see you later. They're going to have dinner with you beforehand. And then after the show, your mind is blown. I can't believe it. It's great. Hang out in the theater, an in-theater meet and greet with one of the premier cast members. So dinner before the show with the cast members, the actual show that changed Broadway history, and then afterwards, an opportunity to hear behind-the-scenes stories from the cast member himself. Opening bid for this package is just $5,000 is the opening bid for this package. $5,000 it is. $5,500 be the next bid. $55 be the next bid. I got $5,000 right here. $55 is the bid. 2 tickets to go see Hamilton. All that great stuff. $5,000 is the bid. See, I knew we'd have you in. I knew you'd be in for it. I knew it. $5,500 be the next bid right now. $55 is the bid. $5,000 is the bid here. $5,500 be the next bid. Person who saved all that money on the Vegas trip. This is a great opportunity to get another once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see Hamilton. Be in the room where it happened, as they say. $5,000 is the bid right there. $5,000. Yeah, absolutely. $5,000 bid. If I don't see another bid in the room, it's $5,000 here going once. $5,000 here. We're going to push it here going twice. And it is so $5,000 right there going to Hamilton. Okay. No. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I want to thank you so much for your generosity. We're going to move on with the rest of the program and have a great night. And thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to resume the program, and we have a very special award that's unannounced. I'd ask you to please all sit down. And please watch the video screens. I'm asking you, please. It's been a very eventful evening. We have some very important speakers. And I'm asking everyone, please, can you be seated, and we're going to resume the program. Thank you for your support, by the way. We're trying to establish an anti-genocide center in New York, Jerusalem, Kigali, and your funds will, God willing, help us assist in those plans. We ready? Put the lights down.
Greetings from the Holy Land, where I've just taken up my position as the United States Ambassador to the State of Israel, the world's one and only Jewish state. I want to congratulate my friend, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, but it is my greatest honor to present a special, unannounced award to a true matriarch in Israel, a woman who has distinguished herself as a shining beacon of light and human rights to the whole entire world. Marion Wiesel. Marion and Ellie produced together over 40 books. And I say together because Marion was often the translator of so many of Ellie's works. Marion helped to create and run the Elie Wiesel Foundation for Humanity, founded in 1986. and especially the establishment of the Beit Zipporah School in southern Israel, which serves Israel's Ethiopian immigrant communities. It is my honor to present you with this award, Matriarch of the Jewish People. Marion, few people are more deserving. We are so sorry for your loss, but we wish you and your family comfort, health, long life, and continued joy. I can't wait to have the honor of hosting you here in the state of Israel. Mazel tov.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shana Boteach.
Thank you. It says in the Talmud that it was in the merit of the righteous Jewish woman that our forefathers left or were redeemed from the bondage of Egypt. Although we are here tonight to celebrate the life of an extraordinary human being, your husband, Elie Wiesel, it would not be complete without honoring Elie's personal redeemer, his strength, and let me start over. Although we are here tonight to celebrate the life of an extraordinary human being, Elie Wiesel of blessed memory, it would never be complete without honoring Elie's personal redeemer, strength, and Eshet Chayil, his beautiful wife, Marion. I have been privileged in my life to know Marion as a woman of tremendous love, warmth, and commitment. An empowered, fearless woman with the biggest heart, overflowing with love, compassion, and the determination to fill the world with every single kindness. Marion, I see you. You are a champion and the pride of your people. You are a pillar upon which our broken world can stand. You are a leader and source of inspiration for all God's children, especially for all the women out there, including myself. You and Elie gifted the world with a greater love of humanity and a stronger appreciation for life. Together, you transformed a dark world into a brighter, shining beacon of hope, love, and peace. I have the privilege, a real privilege in my life, of studying with your and Elie's greatest legacies, your grandchildren, Elijah and Shira. They possess the spirit of you and Elie. It is my greatest honor to present to you the Matriarch of Israel Award. Thank you for everything you've done for the Jewish people. May God bless and protect you and your family, and may you have every single blessing this year, Marion. We love you.
Years ago, the state of Israel faced one of its greatest threats when Egypt, Syria, Jordan, and other enemies threatened its very survival. Then, in an astonishing and electrifying victory in merely 6 days, Israel not only triumphed against its adversaries, but recaptured the old city of Jerusalem, finally reuniting its ancient and eternal capital into one indivisible city. Tonight we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Jerusalem Day and the miracle of Israel's triumph of the Six-Day War. Celebrating with us tonight is one of Israel's most accomplished leaders, the man whose ministry is most responsible for the land of Israel itself. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Israel's Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Uri Ariel.
Can I introduce him? During its long history, Jerusalem has been destroyed at least twice, besieged 23 times, attacked 52 times, and captured and recaptured 44 times. 50 years ago, the young state of Israel faced one of its greatest threats when Egypt, Syria, Jordan, and other enemies threatened its very survival. Then, in an astonishing and electrifying victory in merely 6 days, Israel not only triumphed against its adversaries, but recaptured the old city of Jerusalem. After 2,000 years of hope, Jerusalem was finally reunited, reborn into one
indivisible city, the eternal capital of the State of Israel and the Jewish people. Tonight we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Jerusalem Day and the miracle of Israel's triumph in the Six-Day War. Celebrating with us tonight is one of Israel's most accomplished leaders, the man whose ministry is most responsible for the land of Israel itself, Israel's Minister of Agriculture, Uri Ariel. Born in 1952, Mr. Ariel is a veteran of the Yom Kippur War, where he served as an officer in the Armored Corps Commando Unit, Pulsar Shiva, which interestingly was the same unit that Rabbi Shmuli's son, Mendy, also served in. Uri was wounded in training, losing vision in one eye. He was released with the rank of major. After marrying his wife Hagit, he had 3 sons, 3 daughters, and became very active in leadership roles in the Judea and Samaria regions. In 2001, Uri was elected to the Knesset, and in 2012, he joined the Jewish Home Party and was appointed Minister of Housing and Construction, successfully developing a target price economic model, a marketing method that permitted first-time home buyers to purchase a new apartment. After the 2015 elections, Ariel was appointed Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, directly responsible for all of the land of Israel. It's a particular honor tonight to host the man whose ministry is directly responsible for the land of Israel, Uriel Ariel.
Mr. Steinhardt, do you want to give him the award?
Please, picture.
This is his award for tonight, and he speaks Hebrew a little better than he speaks English, but he's going to try a little bit in English tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much. שלום לכולכם, תודה לך מר מייקל סטיינהרט, מעשיך המרשימים וההישגים ידועים ומוערכים על ידי כולנו בישראל. לא הופתענו לראות אותך מדליק את המשואה במהלך חגיגות יום העצמאות של ישראל רק לפני כמה שבועות. תודה רבה, הרב שמולי בוטח. התברכת ביכולת למקד את תשומת הלב של כל העם שלנו בנושאים שרבים שלא היו מוכנים או שלא הצליחו לדבר עליהם. האירוע של הערב הוא דוגמה נוספת להצלחתך למרות כל ההפרעות שייתכן ונגרמו גם בשל העיתוי בו בחר הנשיא טראמפ לבקר בישראל. הערכה מיוחדת לפועלו של אלי ויזל, זיכרונו לברכה, ותודה לכם, מריון ואלישע והמשפחה.
Thank you, Mr. Michael Steinhardt, for your impressive deeds and accomplishments, are well known and appreciated by all of us in Israel, which is why it was no surprise to see you lighting the commemorative flame during Israel's independence celebrations only a few weeks ago. Thank you as well, dear Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. You are truly blessed with the ability to focus the attention of our entire people on the issues and considerations that many were either unwilling or unsuccessful to communicate. This evening's success and event is just another example of your amazing accomplishments. Despite whatever interruptions might have been caused by the timing of the President's visit, dear distinguished guests and award recipients and honored guests, and in respect to Elie Wiesel and his impact on the world, and thanks to you, Mariam and Elisha.
איך יהודי יכול לתאר את ירושלים בכמה דקות ירושלים שלי, ירושלים שלכם, ירושלים של כל היהודים בכל רחבי העולם.
How can anyone, most especially a Jew, describe Jerusalem in just a few minutes? My Jerusalem, your Jerusalem, the Jerusalem of the Jews around the world.
כאשר אנו חושבים על ההיסטוריה המאתגרת והממושכת של העיר ירושלים, אנו מסוגלים להבין שאנו חיים בזמן של ניסים. אנו עדים לזמן שבו העבר משתלב עם חיינו בהווה ובעתיד. לא פחות מכך, בעת ביקור בירושלים אתה רואה חיים מודרניים תוססים. אתה יכול לראות את הילדים ברחובות, אמהות דוחפות עגלות עם תינוקות. אתה רואה את המייסדים הנוכחיים והעתידיים של חברות כמו מובילאיי. אתה רואה את חכמי התורה, אתה רואה את ירושלים שהיא מטרופולין מייצג של החברה הישראלית. אנו רואים חיים נורמליים וטבעיים, וזה טבעי שאנו שוכחים לפעמים את הנס המודרני כמו קריעת ים סוף.
When we think back over the long, challenging history of Jerusalem, we're able to comprehend that we live in a time of miracles. We are witnessing a time when our past is eternally intertwined with our present and future lives. It is nothing less. When visiting Jerusalem, you see vibrant modern life. You can see kids in the streets rushing to their schools with their backpacks, mothers pushing strollers with babies. You see current and future founders of companies like Mobileye. You see Torah scholars and artists and tourists from around the globe. You see a Jerusalem, which is a true representative metropolis of Israeli society. We see a normal life, a most impressive life. So it is quite natural that we risk forgetting that we are experiencing a modern miracle, like the parting of the Red Sea in our lifetime.
בכל חתונה יהודית, מזל טוב הרב בוטח ואשתו, אנו שרים בלשון עתיד, עוד יישמע בערי יהודה ובחוצות ירושלים, כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה. העתיד הזה הגיע, ואנו שומעים את השירים של הששון והשמחה בירושלים.
At every Jewish wedding around the world we sing Od Yishama. There will be yet heard in the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem the voices of joy and gladness, voices of bridegrooms and brides. Today you can hear those songs and voices of joy and gladness in Jerusalem, with a special mazel tov to the Shmuley Botech and his family.
הנביא ירמיהו תיאר סבל שנפל על העיר ירושלים וידע לנבא נבואות של נחמה, של בנייה מתחדשת. בימינו אנחנו עדים לנחמה ולקיום הנבואה. מתי הנביא ירמיהו ניבא את הגאולה העתידית על ירושלים? הוא תיאר יום אחד יוחלף האבל בשמחה ובחזרה של ילדי ירושלים לרחובות ולמקומות הקדושים שלה. נבואת ירמיהו הייתה חזון שניתן לפני אלפי שנים, ואנו עדים למימוש החזון הזה בימינו אנו.
When the prophet Jeremiah prophesied of the future redemption of Jerusalem, the prophet described terrible suffering that would someday be replaced with joy and the return of Jerusalem's children back to the streets and holy places. Jeremiah's prophecy was a vision he saw thousands of years ago, and we are witnessing the fulfillment today.
ירושלים סבלה מחורבן בית המקדש וחזתה בגלות ובהמשך המאבק של דורות רבים שסבלו מצער. ירושלים גם זוכה וממשיכה לראות את תשובם של בני עמה ואת הבנייה המחודשת של המקומות הקדושים, כמו את החזרה לעמדת מנהיגות בעולם כולו.
Jerusalem did suffer the destruction of the Holy Temple and the exile of her children and continued struggles of generations of sorrow can continue destructions. Jerusalem today is continuing to see the ongoing return of her people and the rebuilding of her holy places and the return to her position as a leadership in the world.
אנחנו נמצאים כאן הלילה וכולנו מגשימים את הנבואה של החזרה לירושלים, אבל ארוכה עוד הדרך לפנינו. הניסים ב-48 וב-67, כל אלה מייצגים תזכורת שמימית שעלינו להמשיך את מלחמתנו עבור ירושלים עיר הקודש.
We are here tonight, and we are here with the fulfillment of the prophecy of the return, but our work is not over. The events that led up to the series of miracles from 1948, the declaration of the Jewish state, to the continued miracles of 1967 and the Six-Day War, when the Jordanians surprised us with joining Egypt and Syria, the war of destruction of the Jewish state, represent a heavenly reminder that we must continue our fight for the Jerusalem, for our Israel.
בימים אלה נחגוג את יום השנה ה-50 לנס של מלחמת ששת הימים. הנס הוא לא רק ששרדנו את המלחמה ושאויבינו נכנעו, אלא שאויבינו הבינו שלא ניתן להרחיק אותנו ממולדתנו העתיקה. זה ממשיך בכך שאנחנו עם העזרה של הקדוש ברוך הוא יכולים לשמור על הנס ולהמשיך קדימה, וזה בעזרת עבודה קשה ומחויבות שלנו.
In approximately 2 weeks, we will celebrate the 50th anniversary of the miracle of the Six-Day War. The miracle was not only that we survived the war and that our enemies surrendered lifting their white flags, or that our enemies understood that we would not be easily removed from our ancient homeland. Rather, that we, with Hashem's help, could keep this miracle of return moving forward with our hard work and commitment.
מעל הכל חזרנו לעיר שלנו, לבית שלנו, חזרנו לירושלים שלנו. במשך 2000 שנים לא הייתה שליטה שלנו על ירושלים, אבל מעולם לא עזבנו אותה, מעולם לא נטשנו אותה באופן מוחלט. תמיד האמנו שיבוא יום וירושלים תשוחרר. חלום בן 2000 שנה מתגשם כעת בעזרתכם ובעזרת העם היהודי בכל רחבי העולם.
Above all, we came back to our city, our home. We returned to our Jerusalem. For 2,000 years we weren't in control of Jerusalem, but we never left her. We were never completely exiled from her. But always we believed that the day would come when we will liberate the city and liberate ourselves. A dream of 2,000 years is fulfilled with your help and the help of Jews from around the world.
כיום ארכיאולוגים יהודים דוברי עברית מגלים כלים עם שמות עבריים. הארכיאולוגים מוצאים תכשיטים של נשים יהודיות שגרו בעיר דוד. גם מצאו פעמון זהב מהכהן הגדול לפי התיאור שמופיע בתורה.
Today, Jewish archaeologists speaking Hebrew are discovering pots with Hebrew names on them. Archaeologists are finding jewelry of Jewish women who lived in David's city. They even found a miniature golden bell believed to be an ornament that decorated the holy clothes of the high priest, as described in the Torah.
בכל דור ודור היו שרצו להשמיד את ירושלים, להרוס את לב העם היהודי. בבלים, יוונים או רומאים, אף לאחרונה גם החכמים מאונסקו שבוחרים להכחיש כל קשר היסטורי בינינו לבין ירושלים. אנו מתפללים שהממשל החדש בבית הלבן לא יראה את הדברים כמו אויבינו ולא יסכים עם האנשים שחושבים כמו אנשי אונסקו.
In every generation there have been those ready to destroy Jerusalem, destroy the heart of the Jewish people. If it was the Babylonians or the Greeks or the Romans or recently the very wise geniuses from UNESCO who chose to deny any historical relation between us and Jerusalem. We pray that the new administration in the White House will not look to our enemies and the likes of UNESCO for guidance.
יהיה אשר יהיה, אנו יודעים כי התשובה הטובה ביותר שלנו היא רק אחת: להמשיך לבנות את ירושלים ולהרחיב אותה, יותר בתים ליהודים, יותר משפחות יהודיות, יותר יהודים בירושלים ובסביבה.
No matter what, we know that our best answer to them is only one: to continue constructing and expanding Jerusalem. More Jewish homes, more Jewish families in Israel and in Jerusalem and her surroundings.
אני בוחר להביע את השייכות שלנו להר הבית שם עמד בית המקדש של שלמה מאות שנים, כמו גם בית המקדש השני. אני מבקר באזור ויש אלפי אנשים שמסתובבים סביב ההר הקדוש מדי חודש בחודשו.
I appeal to you, my dear friends, let's not stop to commit to help making the prophet Jeremiah's prophecy a reality. Let's not forget the words of the psalm.
אנחנו מזכירים בכל חתונה, כאשר שוברים את הכוס ואומרים, אם אשכחך ירושלים, תשכח ימיני. לשנה הבאה בירושלים הבנויה.
Next year in Jerusalem, הבנויה.
לחיים לירושלים. לחיים. לחיים לירושלים. תודה, ג'ף.
The state of Israel is a modern miracle, and her defenders are society's great heroes. Please welcome our next champions of Jewish values, the Defender of Israel Award honorees. Jose Maria Aznar served as the Prime Minister of Spain between 1996 and 2004. Throughout those years and since, Aznar has distinguished himself as an extraordinary friend of Israel and the Jewish people. He has always gone above and beyond for our people, standing courageously in his protection of the Jewish state against its detractors. We are honored to present him with the Defender of Israel Award. Danny Danon is Israel's permanent representative to the United Nations, serving there since August of 2015. Danon has been a champion of Israel in the face of strong resolutions founded upon undeniable bias. He has pioneered anti-BDS conferences at the UN, and after being elected as chairman of the UN Legal Committee, became the first Israeli to head a permanent committee at the United Nations. We are honored this year to present Danny Danon with the Defender of Israel Award. Danny Dayan is the Consul General of the State of Israel in the great city of New York. Dayan has for years been a leading political figure on the Israeli leadership scene, where he represented the communities of Judea and Samaria as chairman of the Yesha Council, which he redesigned to fight for the rights of Jews that live safely, peacefully upon their ancestral homeland. We are honored this year to present Danny Dayan with the Defender of Israel Award.
I am particularly pleased to be introducing the next man because his name is a name I've known for a long time as being the single strongest supporter of Israel in Spain. Born in Madrid in 1953, Spain's former Prime Minister Jose Maria Aznar has always been a staunch defender of the State of Israel. Following his electoral victory in 1996, Aznar became Prime Minister of Spain. With his party's subsequent electoral vision in 2000, he led the country again until the 2004 election. After leaving office, Aznar takes great pride in being one of the founders and chairman of the Friends of Israel Initiative, an international effort of former world leaders that seek to counter the efforts to delegitimize the State of Israel and its right to live in peace with safe and defensible borders. He's written several books and has been awarded honorary doctorates by various universities, including Florida International and Bar Ilan in Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great honor to present the Defender of Israel Award to Jose Maria Aznar.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jose Maria Aznar is one of the great heroes in friendship for Israel. I want to thank you all for please giving us your undivided attention. And he's come all the way from Europe, and we're truly grateful to him and his wife for being with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jose Maria Aznar.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to start expressing how privileged I feel tonight, being one of the honorees. I would like to congratulate and thanks at the same time the World Values Network for the work it does advancing Jewish values across the globe. Also, I must express my sincere gratitude to host tonight, and of course, to all the rest of honorees. Their work and devotion to Israel and Jewish values should we rightly recognize. Let me tell you something, because it's not secret. I believe in Israel. I believe in Israel not as a land of perpetual conflict, but as a land of opportunities. I believe in Israel not as a discriminatory state, but as a real democracy. I believe in Israel not an oppressor, but as a peace-loving nation. I believe in Israel not as a Middle Eastern country, but as Western nation. I do believe Israel has been unfairly criticized and has been subject to unacceptable treatment by many, just because the Jewish people wants to have a state that can live in peace and under secure borders, just because the Jewish people want a better future for their children, just because they want a prosperous, dynamic, terrorist-free nations where to live a normal life. That is why a few years ago I decided that enough was enough and called upon a group of friends to stand up to defend such a basic thing like the right to exist of Israel and the need to treat it fairly. It wasn't easy in the beginning, because for non-Jewish people, former prime ministers and ministers, defending Israel was a risk, particularly in Europe. But the founder of Friend of Israel initiative were not afraid of risk, and today the group has expanded to the 5 continents. What we try to achieve is simple but difficult: to convince our peers to avoid making mistakes that may put at risk the security and the future of Israel. Sometimes we achieve our goals. Sometimes we just express our disagreements and concerns. In any case, we keep trying, and we do it thanks to the support of a few friends. Jewish values were the cradle of our Western civilization. Israel is not only our past, it is our present, fighting terror, and our future, if we want to excel in the technological world that is coming. That is why defending Israel is so important. It is vitally important. This is the message we try to convey through Friends of Israel initiative. Thanks to you and your support. Thank you very much.
Please welcome World Values Network board member Arash Farron.
Good evening. We'd also like to recognize tonight Israel's Consul General in New York, Ambassador Danny Dayan, who is a true champion of the Jewish people, beginning with everything he has done for the residents of Judea and Samaria when he was head of the Yesha Council, ensuring that the Jewish people can always be attached to their ancestral homeland. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Israel's Consul General in New York, Ambassador Danny Dayan.
Thank you so much. Oops. Okay. Thank you so much, Rabbi Shmuley, all the guests. In the next 45 minutes, we will talk about, no, I was joking. Actually, it is a great honor to be here with so distinguished partners to the prize. But I must admit that the first and foremost honor I was given was when Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asked me to represent the capital of the world, Yerushalayim, to the city that for some reason believes that is the capital of the world, New York. And in more serious tone, I would say that the great honor is indeed to represent the Jewish state to the largest Jewish community outside Israel, the American community, the New York community. My friends, we just celebrated Yom HaShoah, marked Yom HaShoah, and then Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, and we have Yom Yerushalayim ahead of us. And during Yom HaAtzmaut, I couldn't help but think about our first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion. David Ben-Gurion was the person that said that in Israel, if you don't believe in miracles, you are not a realist. And think about the incredible string of miracles that we celebrate during Yom HaAtzmaut. Not just the establishment of Israel, a miracle by itself. Our ability to defend Israel by ourselves. We never ask a foreign country to send soldiers to defend Israel. We celebrate the miracle of the ingathering of the exiles, the refugees from the Shoah and from the Arab countries and from the Soviet Union and Ethiopia, and the reunification of Jerusalem, a miracle itself, and now the miracle that is Israel's economy and thriving success. And now, when you approach Yom Yerushalayim, we mark 50 years since the days that we returned to the cradle of the Jewish civilization, the Jewish culture. I can't help but remember another Israeli Prime Minister, Menachem Begin, alav shalom. And Menachem Begin put it very sharply, very succinctly, in the best way that you can express it. Menachem Begin said what the Maccabeans said 2,000 years before him. We return to Yerushalayim, we return to Hebron, we return to Shiloh, we return to the ancient cradle of the Jewish people, the ancient homeland of the Jewish people, not by the right of the power, but by the power of the right. Let's never forget that we return to Eretz Israel by the power of the right. Thank you so much.
Glenn Drew is the person who runs the American Hebrew Academy. He has the overwhelming responsibility for a complex institution, and he's done an outstanding job of dealing with this complex institution that has so often been short of resources since the death of Chico Saba, has kept this institution afloat. He has traveled all over the world, and by so doing, created the first and only international Jewish boarding high school. He is the guy who takes on the burden, and I have an enormous enormous amount of confidence in his stewardship.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Yosef Boteach.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yosef Boteach. I am in a unique position to welcome you all to tonight's 5th annual Champions of Jewish Values Awards Gala dinner. While I am the son of Rabbi Shmuel Boteach, the founder and executive director of the World Values Network, it is also a privilege to be a student at the American Hero Academy in Greensboro, North Carolina. When I first entered the school, I thought I'd be treated like an outsider. Most of the students come from different backgrounds, and I was afraid they would not embrace my strict Chabad Orthodox observance. Thank God that was not the case. Quite the contrary. I was welcomed like family by all students and faculty, Rabbi Snyderman of the Jewish Studies Department, and the Chabad Shliach, Rabbi Yosef Plotkin. My older brother Mendy, who just completed his service in the Israel Defense Forces and cannot be with us today, told me I had to be a leader and not a follower. The school is more than just a school. To me, it's a family of students from around the globe, united by their peoplehood and religion. This is all made possible through the tireless dedication of many people. But the one person who has been there since the beginning and made this vision into a reality is Glenn Drew. Glenn serves as the Chief Executive Officer and General Counsel at the Academy and is also the nephew of Chico Saba, the founder of the Academy. It is my honor to present the World Values Network Champion of Jewish Education Award to Glenn Drew.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's been a long night, and this is essentially our last speech. I want you to know that this is close to my heart, not only because Yosef did such a great job in saying it, but because Glenn is a hero, and he fights every day to keep Jewish schools open. Please give me your attention for just a moment. We're going to have a great dessert. You are the last remnant. Elisha Wiesel is somehow still here. Lynn is still here. Marion is still here. This is a hero. He runs a school that brings children who are Orthodox and conservative and Reform and non-denominational, and he gives them a sense of Jewishness. And we are so grateful to you, Glenn, me and Debbie. And we're so grateful to the one and only Michael Steinhardt, who has been a huge contributor to the school. I am actually in shock that Michael Steinhardt has any money left, because every institution on earth has taken the shirt off his back except me. So I am next. But Michael's a huge contributor, and because of Michael, we know about the school, and Yosef's getting such an excellent education, and Glenn came all the way from North Carolina, and he has all these fans. And Rabbi Schneiderman, who's the head of Jewish education at the school, and Rabbi Plotkin, where's Rabbi Plotkin? The Chabad Shliach at the school. Glenn, the American Hebrew Academy is a Jewish light to America, and I hope that it bursts with attendance, and Debbie and I could not be more thankful. And Yosef is becoming a real mensch. Despite his mother's influences on him, and because his father is his inspiration and shining light, he is becoming a mensch. We are truly grateful. Thank you.
Thank you for hanging in there with us tonight. Thank you, Yosef, for your thoughtful and humbling words, and thank you to Rabbi Shmuley Boteach and the World Values Network for bestowing me and the American Hebrew Academy with such an important honor this evening. 18 years ago, an anonymous Jewish philanthropist who had dedicated millions to further Jewish causes in the United States and Israel, embarked upon fulfilling his personal dream to create a new Jewish school for teenagers unlike any other ever created, and establish a new paradigm for 21st century education. That man was Chico Saba, unknown in Jewish philanthropic circles until his passing in 2006. While most in the audience live within close proximity to New York City, which offers teenagers more Jewish educational options than any other city in the world, the fact is that for most Jewish teenagers in the United States and around the globe, the option for a modern Jewish high school education is limited, or in most cases, non-existent. Chico Saba believed that education was the single most important value to ensuring Jewish continuity, instilling pride in one's Jewish identity for future generations, to furthering a love for Israel, and for building bonds of mutual respect among all Jews, secular, liberal, and religious, as well as those of all other faiths. And so he dreamed of creating the American Hebrew Academy, the only international college prep boarding school in the world. A school that would provide access to all Jewish teenagers so that they could benefit from an elite education that would prepare them to gain admission to the most prestigious universities in the world and positions of future leadership in the global Jewish community. It was an idealistic vision which no one else believed was possible. But it was realized because Chico Saba was unwavering in his commitment to make it so. This year, the American Hebrew Academy celebrated its 15th anniversary, having now served hundreds of students and graduates from 28 states and 35 countries, and from every Jewish background imaginable. And I am proud to have been at the Academy since the beginning, building a school that is unmatched in its philosophy, culture, and design by any other Jewish school. At the American Hebrew Academy, we believe that high school students thrive in a place that engages their convictions and their intellect with traditional and innovative approaches to education, spirituality, and Jewish peoplehood. We believe that Jewish families from all over the world deserve a place where their children's traditions, histories, and individuality can flourish within a global Jewish environment. We believe that a Jewish community founded upon lifelong friendships, transformative experiences, a sacred connection to Israel and the Jewish people inspires our students to serve others. And we believe that the world needs educated and sophisticated young leaders who honor the diversity of Jewish beliefs and values which make us one. My goal and the goal of the American Hebrew Academy is simple: to guarantee our students will graduate with pride in their Jewish identity through engaging and dynamic educational resources. We have an obligation to mentor young people in learning how to improve the world for all mankind. While most schools are intensely focused on teaching, the American Hebrew Academy is focused on the value of lifelong learning, a skill that long surpasses any student's years in school. Tonight, we are gathered to honor the memory and the legacy of Elie Wiesel. So it is befitting that I close reciting his words. The opposite of beauty is not ugliness, it's indifference. The opposite of faith is not heresy, it's indifference. And the opposite of life is not death, it's indifference. Let none of us ever become indifferent to the values espoused by Elie Wiesel and the American Hebrew Academy, which is dedicated to imbuing those values to future generations of inspired learners. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have to finish by 10 o'clock. Now, when we lift this Torah at the end, that will be the end of the dinner, and this is when this Torah becomes an official Torah because we're going to do Agba. Look at this beautiful Torah. You cannot dedicate a Torah to the victims of the Holocaust and the Tutsi genocide in Rwanda without completing this evening on a serious 2-minute message about how we all have a responsibility to fight genocide. We took out that full page ad of the Washington Post about the crematoria, and that was the result. Where's that article? White supremacists saying I'm a liar Jew, Shmuley Boteach's a liar Jew, wants America to be at war. There are forces of hatred, we have to combat them. So to finish, and we're going to finish by 10 o'clock, and then we're going to lift the Torah, we have one of the foremost voices in the entire world against genocide, one of Israel's greatest defenders and champions, one of the human rights foremost activists, and I apologize to you, Erwin, that you had to wait this long to speak. I owe you my personal apology, but Erwin, know that you are a hero to me, and you have been for such a long time. And Erwin Cutler is one of the great Jews that have been produced in this generation. Ladies and gentlemen, the last speaker, 2 minutes, we have to finish by 10 o'clock, then we're going to do the Chazak, former Justice Minister of Canada, Erwin Cutler.
Thank you, Shmuley. We have witnessed some moving moments this evening, particularly the dedication of this Torah in memory of Elie Wiesel, the inspiring and inspired words of Elisha, the honoring of Marion Wiesel, the matriarch of the Jewish people. And we meet at this historic moment of remembrance and reminder, which underpins our themes this evening. We meet in the aftermath of Yom HaShoah, the reminder of horrors too terrible to be believed, but not too terrible to have happened. Best summed up by Elie Wiesel himself when he said that the Holocaust was a war against the Jews in which not all victims were Jews, but all Jews were targeted victims, of Auschwitz as being the most brutal extermination camp of the 20th century. 1.3 million people were deported to Auschwitz. 1.1 million of them were Jews. Let there be no mistake about it. Jews were murdered in Auschwitz because of anti-Semitism. But anti-Semitism did not die in Auschwitz. It remains the bloody canary in the mineshaft of global evil, as we've learned only too tragically and too well, that while it begins with Jews, it doesn't end with Jews. And we meet on the 23rd anniversary of the genocide of the Tutsis in Rwanda, where 10,000 Tutsis were murdered every day for 3 months, where they were defamed, demonized, and dehumanized as prologue and justification for their mass murder, and where the international bystander community was complicit in that mass murder. And so what makes the Shoah, and this is the crucial lesson, what makes the Shoah and the genocide in Rwanda so unspeakable is not only the horrors of the genocide, that would be bad enough. What makes them so unspeakable is that they were preventable. Nobody can say we did not know, we knew, but we did not act. The same with Darfur, the same with Syria. And so I close with the message in the words and deeds of Elie Wiesel Zichrono himself, that the overriding lesson must always be that indifference and inaction in the face of mass atrocity and genocide always means coming down on the side of the aggressor, not on the side of the victim. That silence in the face of evil is complicity. And so it's our responsibility, and with these words I close, as inspired by Elie Wiesel, it's our responsibility to stand up and be counted and not look around to see whoever else is standing before we make our decision to do so. Because in the world in which we live, there are too few people who are prepared to stand and be counted. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Erwin Cutler, God bless you. At 10 o'clock, we turn into pumpkins. We have to leave. So, can everybody please rise as we dedicate this beautiful Torah in the name of one of the great lights of the Jewish people, in the name of the 6 million who were never mourned, and for the names of the Tutsi victims of Rwanda. Please do say with me, V'zot HaTorah, Asher Sam Moshe, Livnei B'nei Yisrael, Api Adonai, B'yad Moshe, Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek. Got a picture? We have the pictures? Do we have a photographer here? Ladies and gentlemen, I've got 30 seconds. Let me just say to Alicia and Lynn and Marion, thank you for allowing us to do this. If it was imperfect, I apologize. We wanted it to be very special, and thank you for your love. God bless you all. Thank you all very much for coming. This concludes the 5th Annual Champions of Jewish Values International Awards Gala.